Diana first. And your chair for this evening is going to be Mohammed Asif, and I'll leave the candidate to be able to introduce themselves. My name is Samantha Patel. I'm co-chair with Diana of Redbridge PSC. And fortunate we've got lots of people that are supporting and have been, raising the profile for us, which is Palestine, the freedom of Palestine. But obviously here we are, here to really focus on a traditional non-selective hustings, which is, we are politically impartial as an organisation. We're not here to endorse anyone. We are here to give a platform for all candidates to be able to speak about their manifesto and their position pertinently on Palestine, but any other issues, any other local things that are happening will be, also in the line of questions. If you do want to write any questions, please do. It's an opportunity for you to do that. And thank you to those that have emailed in your questions. I'm going to hand over to Diana.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you all for coming this evening to hear our candidates. Thanks, I want to thank the candidates who've come as well. I'll tell you a little bit about ourselves. Redbridge Solidarity Campaign has called this Hustings because this election is taking place at a time when one of the greatest conflagrations of this age is taking place. If you listen to the mainstream politicians or read the mainstream media, you would be hard put to realize that what the International Court of Justice has called a plausible case of genocide is taking place. We believe that the issue of genocide and the issue of complicity by the Tory government with support from the Labour opposition is a matter of deep concern and should be reflected in the coverage of the election. This is what we, as a campaigning group, are seeking tonight to do. Some people say, but why should we consider the position of the parties on the genocide issue in Gaza when we have enough national issues? The answer others give is that the behaviour of politicians, when put to the test with respect to this, the greatest crime of our century, is an indication of the nature of their future response to all issues of common concern. That is why we want our politicians to give us answers. We note with regret that some candidates have not accepted our invitation. We can draw our own conclusions from this fact. And with respect to one candidate, there is some information that I can contribute at the end of the evening about their way of dealing with the ceasefire in Gaza. And I think even though they haven't come to give us their point of view, we know where they stand, and I will mention it later on in the evening. If Palestine is an issue for you, we ask you to join us, to be active with us, and to work for the self-determination of the Palestinian people. There are sign-up sheets and a QR code at the table in the hall. Thank you very much, and now I will let the meeting begin.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. Just so that you're aware, there is a live stream here as well. There'll be people taking photographs so that you're aware. May well be uploaded on social media, and I'm sure it's just to inform you that it's happening. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for those introductions. So let's start with me. My name is Mohammed Asif. I've been kindly asked to chair today's hustings. So let's just run through some housekeeping first. There are no fire alarms scheduled. So if there is a fire alarm, please exit through the double doors. Do not use the lifts and make your way downstairs. Moving on to the hustings itself, I'm going to move on to introductions. I'm going to start on the right. Each candidate will introduce themselves, and then we're going to come back to 2 minutes for each candidate to actually present their summary of their campaign. So I'm going to start on the right, so we just get all the names out first, and then I'll come back and ask them to present. So if you'd like to start on the right.
Ghulam Maula Tipu, Workers' Party of Britain.
Thank you.
Ilford South.
My name is Noor Jahan Begum. I'm an independent. Thank you.
My name is Saeed Siddiqui. I'm the Green Party candidate for Ilford South.
Andy Walker, Trade Union Socialist Coalition.
Okay, so each candidate, this will be timed. You have 2 minutes to present your summary of your campaign, and you'll get a warning when it gets to the last 10 seconds. A colleague will let you know when you're approaching the last 10 seconds. So when you're ready, if you'd like to start, your 2 minutes, please.
Should I stand up or I can?
Wherever you're comfortable.
Okay, all right. Okay, start. So, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Immigrating and choosing to build one's future far from one's origins is a challenge. It is a dream that drives us to travel, a hope for our children, a project for a better life. I am Ghulam Maula Tipu, and I have been migrant twice. From Bangladesh to Italy in 1992, and from Italy to London in 2010. I left Bangladesh for Italy to accomplish something important for myself, and I came to London to give my children more opportunities than I had. When I arrived in Italy, my only option was to work at a stall selling necklaces and bracelets. I did not know the language and had no friends, but with the help of some extraordinary people, I found a job in a factory in Padua and then Vicenza, in the heart of productive northeast of Italy. I fought to regularize my position. I struggled to integrate. I fought in the factory as a trade unionist, and I fought to earn the trust of my fellow workers who elected me to the trade union. This experience taught me a lot. A good trade unionist always knows what to ask, how much to ask, when to ask, and I learned how to negotiate. So I was prepared this one for 10 minutes, so let me go to the finishing. Okay. When it comes to, today I want to do my part as an MP for the Workers' Party of Britain. I want to focus on 3 key areas here in my constituency of Ilford South. One is education, on housing, and on elderly. I think 2 minutes finished, maybe.
Thank you very much for that. Hold if you like the next.
Yes, thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for all of you for being here. I'm going to tell you a tiny bit about myself. I grew up in Birmingham. I moved down to London with my family. I lived in Ilford for the last 3 decades with my 4 children. They're all grown. We all work in the NHS, and I'm very proud to be an Ilford resident. Now, my background in the last 3 decades has been in public service. The main thrust of my work has been fighting inequalities and anti-poverty work. What I do at the moment is as Senior Commissioner of Health Services, and I serve my community in a variety of ways. Since 2008, I've been doing a lot of community work, activism, and organising. I serve as a magistrate in the East and North London area, and I've been involved as a trustee in a lot of race equality work and community organising. In the last year, since the 7th of October, I've been involved in galvanising the community and setting up social action groups. Many people are asking me, why am I standing? I have 2 reasons. One reason is that after the 7th of October, I could no longer stand with Labour. I had to resign. Their values do not align with mine. I cannot stand with a party that supports genocide. The second reason for me standing is I have a track record of delivering on public services. And look at the state of Redbridge. We have 1 in 3 children in poverty, we have 3,000 people in TA, temporary accommodation, we have rough sleeping, we have crime going up, bills going up, we have no improvement. After 10 years of Labour being in administration, all we have is cuts. I want to fix that. I see a problem, I want to see a solution. My main key areas as an independent MP that I will be working on is additional policing and crime prevention so that we all feel safe. I want to be able to invest properly in public services and also make sure that we fight inequalities and for human rights here and abroad.
Thank you for that.
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming out here this evening. I'll try to keep it sweet and simple. So, myself and my parents, we are British born, raised in Tower Hamlets. We moved to Redbridge, Ilford in '98. Since then, I've studied in Redbridge, both at Wanstead High School, Caterham High School, and I currently work at King George Hospital, where I've been working for well over a decade now in the radiology department, in case someone I look familiar. Generally, my politics began well over 10 years ago. I got active in politics in 2015 on the back of Jeremy Corbyn's leadership election for the Labour Party, after which I was quite active in Redbridge. I was formerly the Labour Party secretary in Ilford South, and I also worked as a community liaison officer at Sam Tarry MP's office until recently I decided to leave on the back of not just what's happening in Gaza, but on the back of what happened to Sam Tarry himself, which was absolutely disgusting, if I may say so. He has been a very staunch supporter of the Palestinian freedom fight, and something that's brought a lot of, how should I say, credit to our community, after 20 years of Mike Gates. So generally, I have worked in local community campaigns. I've worked alongside Andy in the Save King George A&E, which was well over 7, 8 years ago. So it's been quite some time now. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Right, Andy.
Right, well, thank you for organising the meeting. People fought, died to get the right to vote in England, and they're fighting and dying across the globe now. And yet people get the vote. Apathy, look around the room tonight. People get disillusioned. So the moment we've got hold of the vote, the rich and the powerful, they didn't give up. They've made it difficult for you to participate in our democracy. If you're poor, if you struggle to heat your home, feed your kids, you're not going to pay to join a political party. That is significant because you cannot organise, or very difficult to organise the poor to choose a parliamentary candidate. When it came to picking the Labour candidate, the last time round with Jazz won, there was less than 1,000 people actively participated. It's something like 700 to 400. So we have a shell of a democracy. When it comes to local elections, there's only about 30% of people voting. And that's really important because you need to, for a functioning democracy, you need to be switched on all the time. We mentioned crime, global warming. These stats need to be coming to councils. Poverty needs to be coming to councils each month. In the same way that a PLC, the shareholders demand information. What are you doing about my profits? Day by day, month by month. If you're not good enough, you're out. A democracy should be the same, a real democracy. So you know what's happening in your ward about crime, the borough, across London, how you compare with other cities, how England compares with the world. And most people still won't be interested, but there will be a political community that wants change. They may not all be in the same party, and sometimes you won't with others. But thank you for that.
Thank you for those opening statements and also for keeping within time. So we've got quite a bit to get through. So let's just start with the first question. So let me explain. We've had a number of questions that have been sent in by audience members on email, which we've collated, which we'll go through, and I'll select a range depending on the policy areas that we cover this evening. We've also got some specific questions which are around Palestine itself, given the focus of one particular focus of this Hustings is Palestine itself. But I'm going to try to avoid the obvious ones and the ones which I presume, and I will ask the candidates, the answer is very simply yes. So on those ones, we'll try to make those really quick just to confirm pledges, but then move into a little bit more detail. So let's start with a more generic one, just to warm our candidates up for this evening. So we have a question from the audience. What do you think are the essential skills and qualities of an MP? And why do you consider that? The second part of this is, do you honestly believe that you have these skill sets? And why do you think